Hello everybody, welcome to another video. In this video we will be exploring different models of the solar system historically, as well as the people behind them. Let's get right into this. Let's get right into this. In the 300s BCE, someone named Aristotle, who you might know as one of those famous Greek philosophers, came up with a geocentric model, meaning Earth is in the center of everything. And then around the 2nd century CE, Ptolemy came and revised it slightly. Then in the 15th century, that's the 1400s, someone named Copernicus came along, and he went ahead and flipped everything over. So now the sun is in the center of everything, and the Earth revolves around the sun. And then that evolved into what we have nowadays, thanks to someone named Galileo, who invented the telescope as we know it. More on that later. Model, there was a substance called ether. Unlike the elements here on Earth, ether was unchangeable. There was also a concept. Aristotle also introduced the concept of a prime mover, which is basically like God, an external force that moves the outermost sphere of his model. Because basically in Aristotle's model, it was comprised of many spheres, and this prime mover would move the outermost one of those spheres, and that will move everything else. However, even with all this good stuff in this model, Aristotle struggled to explain retrograde, which is when planets move the wrong way, kind of like the sun on Venus. And he also struggled to explain the differences in brightness of objects, celestial bodies, I should say. Then came Ptolemy, who lived from 100 to 170 CE. He took Aristotle's model and upgraded it somewhat. He added the concept of deference, I really don't know how to pronounce it, which actually weren't really added. It was exactly what Ptolemy had, but he also added epicycles, which are like smaller circles within those large spheres of the deference that Aristotle had. And these epicycles allowed for retrograde motion, which is, as I mentioned earlier, when planets or other heavenly bodies seem to move the wrong way across the sky. Like, for example, the sun will move from west to east instead of east to west. So, in 1543, Copernicus, another great thinker in science, came along, and he upgraded the solar system model that greatly. He realized that the solar system is actually supposed to be heliocentric, not geocentric, meaning that the sun is in the center and everything orbits around the sun, not the other way around, where the Earth is in the center and everything orbits around the Earth. So basically, he was the first one to come up with the idea of the Earth orbiting the sun, as opposed to the other way around. And a couple of things stayed the same from Ptolemy's model, including the epicycles, which are like those little circles that allow for retrograde motion. According to Copernicus, all planets moved in a circular motion around the sun, and they were all thought to move at uniform speed. Okay, so Kepler's first law stated that planets move in an elliptical orbit, which basically means like an oval as opposed to a circular orbit, which, as you could probably tell, is like a circle. So, because of this elliptical orbit, there are 2 times during the year that are considered special on the orbit path. When the planet is closest to the sun, perihelion, and when the sun is furthest from the sun, called aphelion. Or, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I don't really care whether I did or not, to be honest. But perihelion comes from Greek peri, close to, helion, the sun. And aphelion comes from A, which is not, and I guess P short for perihelion, P for peri, I guess, and helion, once again, the Galileo, also known as Galileo Galilei, was an Italian astronomer who improved the telescope greatly, and because of his improvements, he discovered that the moon isn't flat like Aristotle thought. It's actually got mountains and craters. And Galileo also discovered the phases of Venus, further proving that heliocentric is the correct model. And he also discovered moons around Jupiter. He discovered 4 of Jupiter's moons, which tells you that not all celestial bodies revolve around Earth. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you really learned a lot from this. And bear in mind that totally Mr. Talmud, a good heart is always happy, and just be happy. Zag gesund und zag benched, that means be well and be blessed. Mashiach now.